Meryl Streep, the woman who defined acting itself. For nearly 5 decades, she's been the heart and soul of Hollywood, commanding every screen she's ever graced. With more Academy Award nominations than any actor in history, her name became synonymous with excellence. But behind that brilliance, behind the flawless performances and graceful smile, hides a story few have ever heard. Now at 76, what's happening to Meryl Streep is leaving fans heartbroken. She's not the same woman we once saw accepting Oscars with humility and humor. Life has changed drastically, and those who know her best say the recent years have been some of the hardest of her life. After years of giving everything to her craft, Meryl has reached a point of quiet reflection, confronting loss, loneliness, and the heavy price of fame. Her once busy world is growing quieter, and the moments we now see of her carry a sadness that words can barely describe. From the devastating personal struggles she's endured in silence to the shocking turn in her health and career, the truth about Meryl Streep's life at 76 will move you to tears, because behind every performance, behind every smile and every award, stands a woman who gave everything to the world and is now quietly learning what it means to say goodbye. For over 5 decades, Meryl Streep has stood as the golden standard of acting, the kind of performer whose very name evokes respect, admiration, and awe. But beyond the glitz, the awards, and the unforgettable roles lies a woman whose life has been shaped as much by pain as by success. Born Mary Louise Streep in Summit, New Jersey, she was never supposed to be a Hollywood icon. Growing up, she was shy, more of an observer than a dreamer. Yet she found her escape in storytelling. When she performed, the world disappeared, and in its place she found belonging. That love for transformation would become her life's calling. Meryl's rise wasn't fast, it was deliberate. She honed her craft with discipline, studying theater at Yale before stepping onto the Broadway stage. It was there that the world first saw something extraordinary, a woman who could disappear completely into any role. Hollywood took notice, and soon the shy New Jersey girl became the industry's most respected actress. But while her professional life soared, Meryl's personal journey was far more fragile. Early in her career, she fell deeply in love with fellow actor John Cazale, best known for his role in The Godfather. Their bond was profound, built on mutual respect, laughter, and the kind of love that felt destined to last forever. But fate had other plans. In 1978, John was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Meryl stayed by his side through every moment, refusing to leave, even as his health deteriorated. When he passed away, she was shattered. In her own words, "It broke my heart completely. I didn't think I could ever love again." That loss changed her. The world would later see Meryl as composed, confident, and unbreakable. But the truth is, she was rebuilt from heartbreak. Just months after John's passing, Meryl met Don Gummer, the man who would become her husband and life partner for over 4 decades. Together, they built a family that became her anchor amid fame's chaos. Yet, even as she raised her children and built a home away from Hollywood's noise, Meryl never stopped working. Her dedication to her craft was unmatched, sometimes at the cost of her own peace. She poured herself into every role, living through her character's emotions as though they were her own. Each performance, whether in Sophie's Choice, The Iron Lady, or The Devil Wears Prada, carried echoes of her own story, love, loss, and resilience. But the truth is, even legends grow weary. Years of constant pressure, emotional exhaustion, and personal challenges began to take a toll. The woman who once lit up every stage is now choosing to step back, not because she's lost her gift, but because she's finally ready to rest. At 76, Meryl Streep's story is no longer just about success. It's about survival, reflection, and what it means to live with the weight of a life fully lived, both beautiful and painfully human. To the public, Meryl Streep is timeless, elegant, unshaken, and forever brilliant. But behind that calm, graceful exterior, she has fought silent battles that few ever knew existed. For all the accolades and applause, Meryl's journey through fame has often been one of quiet struggle, against grief, exhaustion, and the relentless weight of expectation. She has always been private, deliberately so, While other stars opened their lives to the spotlight, Meryl guarded hers fiercely. Yet over the years, fragments of truth have slipped through the cracks. Friends say that despite her success, Meryl has often wrestled with deep self-doubt. "Every time I start a role," she once admitted, "I think this is the one I'll ruin. This is the one they'll find out I'm not good enough." That vulnerability, that constant fear of not being enough, is what made her performances so achingly real. She never acted from ego, she acted from truth. But truth can be heavy. Living so deeply through her characters meant carrying their pain long after the cameras stopped rolling. From Sophie Zawistowski's unbearable loss in Sophie's Choice to Margaret Thatcher's loneliness in The Iron Lady, Meryl didn't just portray emotion, she lived it. And those emotions often lingered in the quiet corners of her mind. As the years passed, new challenges began to surface. Physically, the long shoots, emotional intensity, and constant travel began to wear her down. She no longer had the boundless energy that once carried her through endless rehearsals and award seasons. And emotionally, she began to crave something she had long denied herself: stillness. In recent interviews, her words have carried a tone of gentle reflection, even sorrow. "You reach a point," she said softly, "where you realize the world will keep turning without you. And maybe that's okay." For fans who idolized her as unshakable, those words were a sobering reminder that even icons grow tired. But the hardest battles Meryl faced were not in front of the camera. Over the years, she endured painful personal losses and moments of isolation that she never shared publicly. Friends say she's become more withdrawn, spending long periods at her quiet Connecticut home, surrounded by family, art, and memories. Her marriage to sculptor Don Gummer, once seen as one of Hollywood's most stable, quietly ended in separation after over 45 years. The news shocked fans when it surfaced. Though they remained close, the end of that chapter was deeply painful for her. Behind closed doors, Meryl has been dealing with the kind of solitude that fame cannot protect you from. The realization that time is moving faster than ever, and the people and moments that once defined your life are slowly slipping away. At 76, she's no longer chasing awards or recognition. Instead, she's confronting the emotional cost of everything she gave to the world. The sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the missed birthdays, the emotional toll of becoming someone else over and over again, have all caught up with her. To millions, she is immortal. But to those who truly know her, Meryl Streep is a woman who has carried pain with poise, and who now, after a lifetime of giving, is learning how to simply be. Hollywood has always loved Meryl Streep, not just for her talent, but for her grace. She made the impossible look effortless, the complex seem simple. But behind the curtain of praise and flashing cameras, Meryl's final years in the spotlight have been marked by exhaustion, reflection, and quiet withdrawal. In her early days, she was unstoppable, one role after another, each performance more layered than the last. But in recent years, Meryl has been stepping back, choosing smaller projects and, at times, disappearing from the public eye altogether. It's not that the offers stopped coming. In fact, they never have. But something inside her shifted. Those close to her say she began to feel the weight of a lifetime spent pretending to be other people. "I've lived so many lives," she once said, "that sometimes I forget who I really am." In the last few years, fans noticed fewer red carpet appearances, fewer interviews, fewer grand speeches. Instead, Meryl focused on quiet, personal projects and time with her family. She's spoken often about how fame can isolate, how success, while beautiful, can also rob you of normal moments, the kind she now craves more than ever. But perhaps the most emotional moment of her recent life came when she decided to slowly say goodbye to the world she once ruled. After more than 50 years in film, she quietly began refusing major roles, not because she couldn't do them, but because she no longer needed to. Meryl Streep, the legend, no longer had anything left to prove. She's been open about the toll that fame has taken on her spirit. "When you're young, you chase it," she said in an interview. "You think the world won't move without you. But one day you realize it will, and you start to let go." Friends say her focus has shifted completely. She now spends most of her time surrounded by her children and grandchildren, often hosting small, private dinners rather than glamorous events. In the rare photos that surface, her expression is softer, more reflective. There's a peace in her eyes, but also a sadness, as though she's quietly saying farewell to a part of herself she's been ready to release. Her health, too, has been a growing concern. While she hasn't spoken publicly about any serious illness, those around her note that she's grown frailer with time. The once tireless actress who could film for 16 hours a day now moves slower, speaks quieter, and values rest above all. Her team has confirmed that she's become selective, choosing only roles that feel deeply personal, often ones with a message about legacy, aging, or forgiveness. What makes her story so powerful is that MERYL STREEP is walking away, not because she's been forgotten, but because she's fulfilled. She's given every ounce of her heart to her craft, and now she's choosing herself, perhaps for the first time in decades. As Hollywood continues without her, the silence she leaves behind is deafening. The red carpets may still roll out, the lights may still flash, but the magic, the authenticity, the soul that MERYL STREEP brought to cinema can never be replaced. When the curtain finally closes on MERYL STREEP's extraordinary life in film, it won't just be the end of a career. It will be the end of an era. The woman who defined acting for generations has spent her entire life giving voice to others. But now, at 76, she's finally allowing herself to step into quiet. Her own story, told in peace, not performance. For MERYL, legacy was never about trophies, fame, or the bright lights of Hollywood. It was about honesty, about the truth of being human. Every time she stepped into a role, she did it with empathy, not just acting as someone else, but feeling as they did. That's why her performances touched so many. She made people see themselves, not her. That, perhaps, is her greatest gift. As she gently fades from public life, MERYL's days are slower now, filled with reading, family visits, and walks through her garden. She has spoken about how much she loves the sound of silence, the simple rhythm of nature. It's a far cry from the chaos of movie sets, but it's exactly what she's longed for. "I used to chase every role like it was my last," she once said. "Now, I realize my life is the greatest role I'll ever play." Those close to her describe her as serene but wistful, grateful for all that she's achieved, but aware of all that time has taken. The separation from Don Gummer, her longtime husband, was one of the hardest chapters of her later years. Yet even in heartbreak, MERYL carries herself with grace. There's no bitterness, only gratitude for the years they shared and the family they built together. Her children, now adults, remain her greatest pride. They say she's softer now, more reflective, often telling stories from her early days, or reciting lines from her favorite scripts as if reliving each chapter one last time. To them, she's not MERYL STREEP, the legend. She's Mom, the woman who balanced the impossible and still made it look effortless. For the millions who've followed her journey, her quiet retreat feels almost unbearable. Fans around the world can't imagine cinema without her. That voice, that emotion, that power to make us feel. But MERYL's departure isn't an ending. It's a gentle reminder that even the brightest stars must one day rest. She once said, "The great gift of acting is empathy, the ability to understand another life, another soul." If I've done that, then I've done enough. And she has. Her films will continue to teach, to move, and to heal long after she's gone. Because MERYL STREEP's true legacy isn't just in the awards or the applause. It's in the hearts she touched. It's in the millions of people who saw her and believed in something deeper, something human. She showed the world that strength and vulnerability can exist together. That even the most powerful performances are born from compassion. As the world slowly comes to terms with her goodbye, one truth remains. There will never be another MERYL STREEP. Her grace, her talent, her soul, they belong to a time when art meant something sacred. And though she may have stepped away from the screen, her light will never fade. MERYL STREEP didn't just act in stories. She became them. And in doing so, she became a part of ours, forever.